Ocean Story is with you, and I have news stories that touch me. I come from Galicia, a Spanish region where the predominant language is very similar to Portuguese. My beloved comes from Barcelona, located in Catalonia, and speaks Catalan. Now we both live in Madrid, where we continue our education. In Spanish educational institutions, Spanish is the primary medium of instruction and communication, except in the case of international students. There are no Spaniards who speak exclusively Catalan, Basque, or any other regional language unless it is an older person from a remote village. Even in such cases, most know at least the basics of Castilian Spanish. My assertion is expected to generate some debate. The problem arises with the nationalistic people of Catalonia, who sometimes choose not to use Castilian. On a trip to Valencia, I was asked to speak Valencian, a dialect of Catalan, when I asked for help in Castilian. Inviting my girlfriend to visit her parents' home in Barcelona turned into an ordeal. Her relatives communicated in Catalan, and I only caught a fraction of their conversation. After greeting me in Catalan, they switched to Castilian after I explained my ignorance of Catalan. However, over the course of the evening, they repeatedly switched between languages, which I thought was impolite but chose to ignore. Despite my repeated reminders that I was not fluent in Catalan, they continued to switch to it, reverting back to Castilian only temporarily. As I left the room to get some fresh air, I was not alone. My girlfriend joined me. I couldn't resist asking her the reasons for her family's strange behavior, why they so persistently ignored me in conversation. She explained that her relatives don't like to communicate in Castilian. This seemed ridiculous to me, as I myself had witnessed her father calmly communicating in that language during a video call with someone from Peru. Despite my being there, he never once switched to Catalan. When we returned, the family began asking questions and inquiring about my opinion, but every time I tried to engage in dialogue, they answered me in Catalan while continuing to communicate amongst themselves in the same language. My patience ran out and I announced my departure. Despite the delicious dinner, I could not put up with this attitude. I repeatedly emphasized that I did not speak Catalan and felt uninspired. My father's reaction to my decision to leave was sharp. He rebuked me for being impolite for leaving such a labor-intensive dinner uneaten. They had spent hours preparing a whole goose and 5 side dishes. I in turn reminded them that their unwillingness to communicate in a common language made my presence pointless. I never addressed them in Galician, Portuguese, English, or Romanian, emphasizing the absurdity of the situation. After leaving, I found shelter at a friend's house. My girlfriend tried to contact me, leaving 15 missed calls over the course of the evening. We spent the day in silence. Now I'm facing the complexity of trying to figure out what steps to take next. Being in a situation where there is a perceived lack of support can cause feelings of frustration and isolation. Watching my friend fail to stand up for me after repeated attempts to explain to her family about the language barrier left me in a quandary. I reached out to her hoping for understanding, however, my expectations were not met. She found herself in a difficult situation between her family and me, failing to show resolve in protecting my interests. My emotional outburst, provoked by an unfriendly attitude, may have gone beyond what was acceptable. However, responding to rudeness in the same way is not a solution. It would be wiser to choose to express your frustration in a more constructive way, such as by expressing your feelings before leaving. A situation where the family switches to the local language during a conversation, knowing that I don't understand it, seems like a deliberate act of inattention. This creates a barrier despite having a common language that could facilitate understanding. Such actions can be perceived as a display of parochial pride and an unwillingness to consider the feelings of others. Standing up for your boundaries and respecting yourself does not require the use of insults, especially when first meeting people who may become part of your life. It's important to find a balance between asserting yourself and maintaining goodwill in relationships. It may be time to rethink my relationship with my girlfriend if we are not finding common ground on such fundamental issues of mutual respect and support. However, responding to relationship difficulties by increasing conflict does not help to resolve the situation. Working on your own attitudes toward anger and stress can help you avoid losing your temper and the negative consequences for your personal well-being and professional development.